Okay, good morning, everyone that's with me online. Actually, it's interesting because I only have an online audience. Sitting in the classroom waiting for people to show up, but it is 10:02. I'm going to go ahead and start. I just need someone to let me know they can hear me. Please, somebody. All right, very good. So we're going to start. Start by telling you I'm happy that you're joining me and that you're interested in understanding all the things that are going on in our industry. We have a lot of things that we're naming as disruptors. And what I want to do is share with you some really good understanding of what this means and then how to deal with these new things that are going on in our industry, and be able to do as much business as you desire, because there's just oodles of opportunity out there no matter what's going on. And I'm hopeful that this course will help you understand that and remind you. One moment, please. I'm going to grab my mouse. Good. So I actually have a student that walked in. Bear with me a moment. I don't know. So I have 6 people online and you. So if you want to sit up here, I'm just going to kind of sit down and talk, and you can kind of follow. So. Okay, so first I'd like to talk about the fact that, I feel consumers really don't have the same perception of different products and services overall. Everyone's different. You're different. Each of you are different from each other. You're different from me. And so it's important that you acknowledge the fact that people make different decisions. If everyone made the same decision, we'd all own the exact same things. We'd all have the same exact occupation. And so that's not true. And so I'd like to start by talking, just kind of giving you an understanding, what will consumers pay more for? And for the females on, you'll hopefully relate to this. The males not so much, but I'm using just, in this case, I'm using an example of purses. And so I have some, and the ladies can recognize these brands, which are very, upscale, designer, expensive brands. And so, will consumers pay for brand? Will consumers pay more for brand? And for some that might be yes, for others that might be no. And so that's what's important to understand. Does name really cost more to manufacture? I happen to know my wife owns a Coach purse, and when I looked inside that, and interesting enough, it says this thing was made in China. So, that pretty much where we expect lower cost product to be manufactured. But some of these exclusive name brands are also manufactured in the same country, not possibly the same factories. It's amazing. But will consumers pay more because it has that Coach label? Unfortunate to us, yes, but for the Coach company, that's a golden ticket, right? Now, could either of these, last for the usefulness that you have longer? As a female, for the life that you want to use that purse or that design of a purse, is it affected by the fact that it's a name brand or an expensive purse versus a non-expensive purse? That's a question you can answer. But You know, for some, they just need that name brand. For others, they're never going to purchase that name brand. They're never going to pay that exceptional price. I have another one joining. So I'll try to do this then more. So I have a bunch of people online right now.
Yes.
So I just had another person walk in, so bear with me, and we'll continue. So it kind of gives you, you know, an idea to realize that people make decisions differently, and they don't always go for discounts. They sometimes go for brand names, sometimes convenience and different things. And I'm going to use one more slide to go with that. And that is, you know, fast food versus dining in a restaurant. You know, why would you go to fast food versus dining in a restaurant? Convenience. Fast food gives you convenience. You don't even have to get out of your vehicle, right? You know, but you know, some of it is quality of food, the experience, the atmosphere. Again, people make decisions, and it could be decisions based on circumstances, right? You know, maybe I don't normally like to go to fast food restaurants, but they do because of the convenience. But consumers have different tastes. Consumers have different desires. They'll pay differently for different things. You know, and it could be the atmosphere included. So it's really important you know all that. And so in conducting, now that I've talked a lot about that, I want to kind of take you on a little bit of a journey about our business in a whole. And I kind of want to put you in a time capsule. I'm going to go backwards in time because I think it'll help you understand where we are today in this business compared to what it looked like 30 years ago. So first I'd like to ask, is conducting real estate services easier or harder today than it was 30 years ago? A couple people in front of me, you have no idea, but if you guess.
The challenges would just be different. For example, I feel like 30 years ago there'd be a lot more bookkeeping, but nowadays with that easy access, you have more competition for you know, like for doing BizBos and such, you have 15 years, or you have 15 people competing, and I feel like 30 years ago you would have much less competition.
Okay.
Yeah, and today, you know, like the social media, the internet, the Facebook, all the stuff that you can immediately reach to people compared to what it was like.
So I think we can say one thing, information's more available to everyone today than 30 years ago. So that creates some challenge. So maybe some less need of our services because they don't need us to get to the listings now, okay? But, you know, so it's a different set of needs that consumers have, and we have to recognize those and then determine the value of those services. So I'm gonna kind of flip through this and give you a little bit of a history. The evolution of the real estate industry. So I'm going to talk back before the 1980s. Okay, before the 1980s is the 1970s. There basically was no technology, folks. CRM was flashcards or Rolodex on your desk. Okay, a calendar was a paper book. You know, I do see some people still use that technology, but that's good. Phone communication was from the office. So you can see that image close enough. There's something that you absolutely don't see on any of those desks. What you don't see on the desk. There's no computer systems. So everything is very much paper, right? Okay, so if you didn't have your cell phone, your smartphone, how's people going to get a hold of you? Where do you have to be? Or if you give them a phone number, you better be where that phone is that gets that call. So you almost have to be at the office to accomplish that. Let me get this switch off, sorry. But I also want to see the median price of a home sold in the United States in January 1970 was $23,600. Okay, so I believe it was more probable that 7% commission was very acceptable back then, which means that 7%, that would be $1,652. At 3.5% would be $826 commission check. Okay, let's move forward a little bit. In the 80s, now they do have something called the PC or the personal computer. So a modest one costs $2,500. That's equivalent to $1,600 in today's dollars. They're just basically, at that time, were just too expensive for anybody to personally own. So again, if you needed to use a computer system, who bought the computer systems? The office did. They put them in the office and use from there. No cell phones. Any calls outside the local area also cost a per minute call. You remember when you had a landline, you had local calling, and then if you wanted to make a long distance call, you paid per minute for that service. Contracts were almost always signed in person or by snail mail. Rare exception, they came out with a fax machine, and some got done that way. So again, the median home price in 1980 was $68,700. So it was over double of 10 years prior, and that would be the commission you could earn. Was there internet in the 1980s?
Not really.
I think the internet might have became more of a public, just began to be a public thing around 1990, maybe 89.
The official date was released to private industry.
I don't know, but it was pretty much 1990-ish. So even though there might have been an internet in 1990, this is the 80s, was there MLS online? There was not. So now before the mid 1990s, so in between the 1990 and the mid 1990s, and this is true prior. You still was using other types of medium to market your property. So an agent, essentially, in order for them to market a listing, they were buying ads and publications and print marketing and stuff like that. And this was pretty much an out-of-pocket expense for them, because the only other way that they learned about your listing was either an open house or through an agent, because consumers didn't have access to any of this information at that time. Okay, so ads had, and that is something else I want you to understand, ads had limited market reach and shelf life. So if you put an ad in a newspaper or an ad in a publication, that publication was good maybe for a month at tops. And then if you wanted to keep your ad going, you had to repay for that publication, so that the ad would continue to be in the current publications that were on the market. And they typically had very limited information. Luckily to have one black and white photo, or it could have been just all text, and the text was limited to maybe 15, 20, at the most maybe 30 characters. And so you had to spend a lot of money to market your listings at that time, and you still had a very limited geographical reach, if you think about it. Median price in 1990 was $123,000. 6% commission would have been $7,380, or 3% $3,690. So in around 1990, there was no internet MLS. MLS was still a book. So even prior to this, it was a book. I don't know if you've ever bought, what time frame you bought homes, but my very, very first home I bought at a very young age when I came to Florida. It was around 89, and the realtor that I used had an MLS book. And that's how we shopped homes. So she opened up this book, and it looked almost like a Yellow Pages. It wasn't quite as thick as Yellow Pages, but that's how we looked, and we had to flip from page to page and then make a determination based on one elevation of the front of the property and how it was described in about 30 words. And then we decided which ones we were going to go see from there. And then, unless that agent had a lot of knowledge about the communities, they would get out this fold-out map and figure out where we're driving and go to it. So you can see all the amazing challenges that occurred then. But could you also relate to the fact that there was actually more of a need of us at that time? I think so, because again, consumers didn't have the same level of access of information that they do now. Okay, so no internet MLS even in 1990. We fast forward to 1995, 96, and what happened then was Realtor.com that came out, and I think it kind of began as more of an MLS online for the agents, but it soon later went as a public site. Now consumers have access to seeing the listings that are available on the market themselves without the realtor. They can find and shop without a real estate agent. They're starting to have that opportunity. So in the early 2000s, what happened? So then some of these other savvy people that got into the internet business and seen all the opportunities to create businesses that lured consumers based on information, because consumers were striving to get information, and they found this thing called the internet and the superhighway, and they could go into a thing called Google, and they could find information on their own and get things without professionals for different industries. And so that's when Homes.com and Zillow and Trulia all became entities online. And their whole premise was being able to give consumers direct access to, in this case, the property listings that we sell. And what they did, though, was they seen the business model as something to where if they can get out there and be brilliant at the internet business and bring the consumers and give them the information, then their business model was, okay, now we can capture these people and we can maybe sell back these leads or the opportunities back to the agent. So they really were brilliant in it. So that was the major launch of home search websites for consumers to self-search homes for sale. This reduced the need of service required by a real estate agent. Do we agree? Somewhat? Yes, I do. Because they didn't have any access before, now they do.
So this is more the needs of a buyer's agent, though. It doesn't seem like it's really reduced the need of listing agents as much.
Well, so now can consumers put their properties directly on Zillow?
I honestly don't know the answer to that.
You can. And that's the other issue. So just like what's happened with what the internet has overly done was allowed people to connect directly to consumers. What did Amazon do to the retail industry? They said we can warehouse every little company's inventory and then give them a place. They can put it on a platform, and now consumers can buy direct, and there's no needed for middleman distribution. It's really changed a lot, and we have to be aware of that. So let's go forward now. The evolution of the consumer's needs. So in the mid 2000s even, okay, so only 12, 13 years ago, we still didn't have smartphones. I think the iPhone came out in 07, and we had no mobile internet. So we still have constraints as agents that in order for us to, or even consumers to get online, they had to use a PC, and the PC had to be hardwired connected somewhere, right? We couldn't just run around with a laptop and get wireless internet because it really didn't exist. I mean, the wireless internet existed before the smartphone. You can see, still the constraints that were there. So today, information is easily accessible by consumers. Cost of advertising is extremely low because relatively, especially in our brokerage, you just need to have that listing, if you're listing property, putting it on the MLS, and everything is taken care of the marketing now. And then you may include other elements of really zero cost, because one of the newest entities to broadcast and sell product is through social media. So you can utilize your social media. So the cost factor has went down, and made it, your listings are now broadcast all over the globe. There's no restrictions. So there's a lot of things that have changed there. But consumers, again, have direct access and communication. For us to communicate, we don't have to I gotta get to the office because my customers may be trying to call me because they had a landline phone number. You didn't have mobile phones. So you had to be at the office to be behind that phone, because if they were trying to reach you, that was the way. So what if all that part of it's taken away? Big question here: what remains the values of real estate agent to the consumer? So what is it they really? What values today do we give that consumer? What is it?
We absorb the stress of the home.
Okay, so the legal processes, very important. So we understand everything legally and keep them in check so that everything is done in a proper manner and there's no potential consequences to the consumer because they didn't understand what they were doing. So skill and knowledge, really all that's there now is skill and knowledge. So let's talk about that. Why a real estate agent today? Understanding the requirements and obligations. One, right? These are all the other things. So this is what your values are today. Skill, understanding requirements and obligations, skills at negotiating. You feel really good about how well you can negotiate. That's a big deal. That's what they're wanting. They want strong negotiators. Understanding contracts and laws. They want to know, that you understand all those little clauses in the contracts and the forms and which one you would need for this particular purpose. That's what your values are. And the ability to oversee a transaction, to know and to be the central component or the central person that runs that thing forward to closing and keeps it glued together and keeps everyone on task, right? That's what we sell. That's what our values are. And I like the part, skills in negotiating, because when you go in and a part of what this class is about, if you go in and maybe speak with a seller and the seller's putting you against one of these disruptors, what is your skill level to take them past that? What is your skill level to overcome that? Because that's going to be a huge objection, especially when you're going to expect to be earning 6 or 7% commission if they choose to do business with you versus somebody that says, well, we can do it today for 2% total commission. What are you going to do? How is your negotiating skills? How strong are you at moving them past that? At the beginning, we talked already about the fact that your people are different. People will buy certain things based on the value. Some people seek only the cheapest discount. So, when you keep that in mind, even though you're probably a better value, there are a certain level of consumers you're never going to convince to do business with you. And that's okay. You at least made the effort. You knew what you could deliver to them, though they didn't make that choice. That was theirs. And so you have to be very skilled, not only at negotiating for them, but negotiating for yourself with them, right? And so they'll see that skill set when you're presenting. So when you talk about each one of you as an individual agent, given everything that we provide you as a brokerage, but what is your, some of these things you have to define for yourself is what is my business model? Is my business model that I am worth the 7%, that I have a value in everything I do, or am I interested in maybe being a discounter and trying to win opportunity and do volume over quality, or what is my business model? So you define your own business model. So these disruptors have a business model, right? They have a business model. You have a business model. We try to teach you to have what kind of business model? Value, professionalism, your worth the most. And we want to help you retrain that as well. So what are your value propositions? So what is a value proposition? What determines the worth? Why is that? Why is your cost 6% or 7% when this place down the road, or I see on commercials all the time, they're going to do it for 1.5%. Why should I pay 6%? What's your value propositions? Good question. Okay. Well, you should know these things because you have them. So who is your target customer? Is it the ones that only will buy because it's the cheapest thing or the discount thing? Probably not. Not in the business model I would hope you would have. Okay, so let's continue forward. The discount lower cost disruptor business model. Here's some of them that we're hearing in our marketplace that are advertising. Have you heard of Rex? Have you heard anything on the radio, any commercials? And so this is one that's brand new in our marketplace. And what do they say? We will sell your home for 2% total. Okay. That's one of them. And we're going to talk about these more. And my question to you is, do you know who they are? Do you know what they do? Do you know how they've been around? Do you know what their customer ratings are? What do you know about them? Because if they're big enough to advertise and trying to steal, or I'm not saying steal, but earn business away from you, shouldn't you know who they are, what they do, how long they've been around, what their ratings are, what they actually give the customer? That makes a lot of sense, right? Here's one that's in our marketplace. Another one is called List Smart. And they have a couple different programs, but one of them, literally, they're telling the consumer for $99, I'll put your home on the MLS, on Zillow, on Realtor.com, on Homes.com, all these places for $99. They'll do a full listing service for 4.5%. Okay, what do they do? How are they doing it? What is it, right? Here's another one. This one's probably one of the larger ones. A company called Redfin. Redfin is now in our marketplace. They're marketing through radio advertising. They have billboards. They have TV, and it says sell for more, pay 1.5% listing fee. So what do they do? What does the consumer get? Does anyone know? No one knows. Would you think it would be important that you know? Absolutely. Because if I go into an appointment and they say, well, we saw this billboard and we heard this radio and then we went online and they, we really like what they give us and they only do it for 1.5% and they have the biggest real estate website in the world for shopping homes and stuff. So how are you prepared to combat that? How are you prepared to deal with that? How are you prepared to overcome that? If you don't know who they are or what they do, or you can't. There's no way. You're just gonna like look at them and say, but it's me. Yeah, but it's me. So I'm sorry, but I don't get it. Why would I give you X amount more money than what the service they say it costs, right? Very important. The discounter perceived value to home sellers. So what do you feel the perceived value that they try to convince a property owner? What is the perceived value? What do they try to?
They're saving on their sale price by making more money because they're charging less commission.
Okay. So they want the consumer to believe they're receiving this exact same service for a lesser cost. Would you not agree that that's probably the perception that they try to drive home? Yes. What else? It's just less cost and you save money. So if they are doing a great job in presenting that, and consumers have that perception, because that's the perception they're giving, and they're probably doing a pretty good job at it, that, hey, you choose me, you'll get, in Redfin's case, they present that they'll get a superior service for 1.5%. That's pretty dramatic, right? Is it possible? And I'll give you one little thing about Redfin. They've been around for a long time. I don't know how many years. I haven't studied that. I'm going to guess somewhere around 10 years. They are recently in our market. I think they're publicly traded. Okay. And they have not ever shown a profit in the history of the company, and their losses are multi-million-dollar losses. If I told a consumer, well, they lose money, and I can't afford to lose money, do you think that's a convincing factor? No, it wouldn't convince me. I mean, like, okay, if they're willing to do it and take a loss and that they get the job done, I'm happy. That means I got a really good deal, right? So I really wouldn't have that conversation, but it's good for you to know that, because if you have in your mindset, well, maybe I need to start listing homes and only charging 1.5%. That's all that's left in my business. That's absolutely not true. There are plenty of people that will pay you 6 and 7%.
But what's that one company with the billboards? Star One.
Okay.
Right? That's what they do. 2%, right?
I don't know.
I think
Some
that's
of
the
them
whole
even want-
scam is 1% or 2%.
Yeah, 1.5% too. Keep
Yeah.
hearing them on the radio and getting those calls.
Okay.
Yeah.
So their marketing, their business model is to drive and find the consumers that want discount consumers, right? So are you going to be dealing with this in a presentation? Yes.
Yeah.
So how are you going to overcome it? How are we going to get the business, get it at the right value set?
It's that old saying, you get what you pay for.
Well, you got to be careful how you say that, because if they show enough facts that they're getting it done, like, well, that's kind of interesting, because they got a whole page here of all the homes they just sold. How many homes have you sold in the last month? Now what are you gonna do? You gotta, it's gotta be better than you got to be ultra you're doing.
The false equivalency, though, that'd be like
Okay.
or luxury versus.
So now we have the other kind of disruptor that we see today, which is kind of a newer concept. What is termed in our world is iBuyer. So the iBuyer disruptor business model is, so what are the iBuyers selling? What is their value proposition? So do you understand what an iBuyer is? It's the companies that are soliciting to consumers. We will just buy your home. We're prepared. We can close at your convenience whenever you want us to close. Okay, so we're buying homes from you directly, and you don't have to worry about showing appointments and long time on the market and all this stuff. convenience, what they're selling. So that's their value proposition. Easy, convenient, no hassle, no doing repairs, we just buy it the way it is, and we can close on it exactly the date you want to close, and it's all done. So that's what they're selling. Okay. Here's some of those in that business. If you don't know this, your friends at Zillow are one of them. Your Zillow is now a real estate brokerage, and they are competing with you. So if you're one that feeds them with money to get leads, and well, I won't say it. I'm just kidding. I'm not a proponent of it. I'm sorry.
That's a vicious circle.
So look at the the savviness of the marketing piece here. Skip the hassle, sell the Zillow. Skip the home prep, save time, move when you choose. We're here, we know what we're doing, we got you covered. Very friendly comes across, right? It makes it easy. Easy. They sell easy. Okay. Does easy cost money? Convenience costs money?
Sure, if you're not gonna get a top dollar.
Yeah, they're gonna underbid your home.
Okay. By how much? Right? Another one. This one's in our market. Zillow, I don't think's quite in our market yet, but they're rolling quickly. Could be here tomorrow. So, Open Door. That one's relatively new in our market. Get an offer on your home with the press of a button. You know how easy they make it sound? Just press this, put your address in, push this button. We'll we'll send you an email, and we'll buy your home. When would you like to close? Easy. Okay, the easy way value proposition. Here's one, offer pad. Hi, we want to buy your home. Tell us about your home. Receive an offer within 24 hours. Yes, it's that simple.
So, Barrett, Scott, how are we going to compete with that?
How are you going to, we'll keep talking here. No.
6% and 1.5%. I would be crazy not go there. To be honest, I have a house and I'm hearing this on the radio.
Right.
I would never go to a. A lot of money.
But it isn't 1.5%.
That's what they say on the radio.
That's the,
I hear it
that's
every
the
single day.
listing side. That's not the whole commission. See?
I always say that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I'm trying to what I am
I
trying
know,
to allude to here is the fact that do you understand them and what you're giving consumers so that you understand how to deal with it. If you don't understand it, you've not done the right thing in the first place. You gotta go do your homework. You gotta go
It's not
investigate.
me who's going to them. It's the people who doesn't really know. People who are just have a house and they have no idea how things works.
Sure.
They just heard that thing. They know they asked the realtor, told them 6%. Now they hear 1.5%. That's all what they know. That's all what they need to hear.
Right.
And automatically they are hooked. I feel really worried about that. I think in 5 years, if those things keep growing, we cannot compete with that. It's so hard. Like you are, a cab driver company competing with Uber. Cost-wise, the service is a huge difference between us and them.
So then what you gotta ask yourself, am I really worth that much money? Do I need to be paid 3%? Because the difference only is 1.5%, by the way.
Yeah, technically, yeah, but it sounds on the ad.
Okay, but why couldn't you just advertise your side of the listing commission when you advertise yourself?
Plus, if you reveal to a customer that the ad is being deceptive.
See, when you gotta understand it, okay, and then, but you gotta explain, again, for one thing I would come out right away, do you realize that they didn't tell you everything yet? It's not 1.5%, first of all. So, you now are edging on the fact that they don't necessarily bring out the whole truth before, they use it as a bait and switch. Would you kind of consider it bait and switch? Yes, I would, because when we present commission, we're designed to present what the whole amount really is going to be to that consumer. So if you wanted to do it more like they do, then you'd only present your portion of it, this side of it. And say, okay, now that we're sitting down, how much is the buyer agent going to be paid? Okay? But don't think that every consumer bites on that. Or when they, that they don't, when they get set down and they're like, well, what happened? What happened to the 1.5%? And they're turned off because they felt deceived. You don't deceive, right? So offer pad, back to this side. This is the iBuyer side. So we want to buy your home. So it's make it very convenient. So images on the pictures just seem like very friendly, happy people. This is great. What a solution. See all that's done, right? So the iBuyer value to home sellers. What is the iBuyer value? What's the value proposition? We already spoke about it. What?
Convenience.
Convenience. Convenience. Easy. No hassle. Guaranteed sale. Guaranteed sale is a big
Is that
deal.
really guaranteed, son?
Absolutely. They're buying the home. They're the buyer.
Yeah.
Just skip everybody and we're coming directly and we're going to buy the home directly from you. They buy the home.
Okay.
Now, do they go out and sell it then, right? Because I did.
You should know this stuff, though.
I've had
So you
some
did,
offer
yes.
ups on the street
Yes.
that are listings, and they go out.
So they sell this.
Then they rent them out.
Right. They put it up for sale at a higher price.
Yeah. So they don't just own all these houses. They buy them and resell them. Okay. So what kind of
So even if
what would you consider that? What they are, if they're, would it just be like flipping houses?
They're investors. They're not
Investors. Okay, so, but, whoops, go back. So, let's look at investor. And everybody's heard about this one, right? It's been around for years. Aren't they investors?
Yeah.
Get cash for your home. Now, but what's the difference in the perception of this versus the iBuyers that we just looked
Like
at?
this one buy houses that nobody else wants.
That we buy ugly houses,
Mm-hmm.
but they appear more as the investor. Do the offer pad and the open door and the Zillow, they don't give the appearance of an investor. They give an appearance of a solution that we just, we'll buy your house. So that's important to know because these entities have been around for years. I mean, they bought 75,000 homes. Okay. Real estate investors, flippers. So what's the difference between an iBuyer and an investor?
Not much.
Nothing.
They're not the same thing.
Okay,
Just the way they add the.
Right, the marketing.
the consumer perception.
Mhm.
Because the iBuyer design of the way they're investing comes across to consumer solution where they're almost as if they're not discounting or giving away their home. But they're not, it's not anymore, they're not paying any more. But I want to kind of, let's see if I got any slides pertaining to that. Yeah, let's go back because I want to encourage you, one, that you got to investigate these folks. You got to know what they do. So you got to know their ins and outs and how they do it. Because and I'll just tell you, I know a little bit about, let's say, OfferPad. So when OfferPad gives the consumer a price on their home, what is the average difference between what its true market retail value is and what they're paying? Do you have any clue? No. You got to learn this. You got to figure this out. It's about 20%. The offer's 20% less because there's more. See? Okay, so if their home is worth market range, market value, retail on the street, 200,000, they're going to offer them 160.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now that if they choose to do that route, that's the recorded sale price. So if you look it up in county records, it says that home sold for 160,000. The OfferPad folks charge if they call it different than a commission, they call it a convenience fee. You want to know what that is? 7.5%.
What?
So now they take the 160 price and the seller pays a 7.5% convenience fee.
Pays to who?
So it'd be like.
Themselves.
So like 145,000 is what you actually get out of your 200,000.
So they charge a fee like a commission, but they call it a convenience fee. Convenient, close when you want, we pay cash, you don't do any repairs. So now what is the seller selling that home for?
So the seller lost 20%.
They lost 20% and then they lost another 7.5%.
And they paid more than the commission.
Okay.
And
Okay.
now, but people not even gonna be that stupid, they didn't realize that.
Hey. They're doing it.
One of my
They're
friends-
buying them every day now.
Yeah, one of my friends almost just sold to them before
Okay.
I intercepted them. So
See,
You wouldn't see that 7%, like,
right, it's convenience fee.
they just signed a contract. A
Yeah.
lot of them.
God.
Okay. So is there people that you should be figuring out how to reach? They're reaching them. People are selling them the home. Okay. So, so the other thing that you should want to know is where do they sell these homes? They're selling these homes. Most of them they're going right back on the market. They may do a little bit of work to them, just like an investor would do, right? But where are they peddling them? Where are they marketing them? They're putting it on MLS. Why do they put them on MLS? Because the MLS gives them the most money, folks. That's where you get the most money for your home, is when you put your home through a real estate on the MLS.
And usually,
So-
I've noticed the MLS for those people aren't in the same city, or like there was one over right off of 19.
Uh-huh.
The MLS handling it was on the other coast.
That's interesting. I didn't know that, but the big deal is here's consumer perception. The consumers being perceived that it's not investors, they're just another way of selling their home.
They find the
More
other-
convenient, easy. But people don't just go around and put ads on TV and radio and spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in advertising to pay retail price for homes. Okay? So, consumer perception. So I'm going to go back. You need to decide your business model. If you don't know your business model, you got to work on it. But I'm hopeful that your business model is exactly what you expected it to be when you got your license. That you earn 6 and 7% when you do business. And then, who are your competitors? How do you compete? You have to understand this. How do you sell your value proposition? How can you convince me not to use Redfin? How can you convince me not to sell my home to OfferPad? That one should be pretty easy, but it may not be. You may have challenges. You can't, so, and so let's say it this way. Yeah, but you can't guarantee when the homes sell. I need to have the home sold and closed in 40 days. Even though, I don't care that you can get $50,000 more for the home. What do you do? I just need it sold. I don't care about the money. I want this home sold.
I can remember agencies that used to do that though. If your home isn't sold in 45 days, we'll buy it from you.
Yeah, that's a business model.
Of course, they buy it for pennies on the dollar.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody can buy it from you, they don't.
Yeah.
Do you think if you put a home on the MLS 20% under market that you couldn't have a cash buyer within 24 hours?
Yeah.
So you know what? Give me 3 days. Give me a 3-day listing agreement at that price. I bet you we could come out with a pocket with a few $1,000. But no, that's not really what I'm suggesting you do at all. It's different than that. You have to first understand who your competition is. How do you compete with it? Again, does people still, if you put back to the slides earlier, for a female, I put 2 red purses on the table, and one's $500 and one's $39.95. Will some of them still buy the $500 purse? Yes, because it has that silly logo on it. I don't mean it in a bad way, folks, but they'll buy it because they want that prestige. So people pay for prestige. People pay for service. But what do they pay most for? Skill and knowledge. So that's the secret. You got to have a lot of skill. You got to have a lot of knowledge. And then you have to be able to present it. You have to be able to present it. Because at the end of the day, people don't understand sometimes when it isn't more important that what you walk away from the closing table with or what you pay somebody to get you to the closing table. Think about it. Is it more important what you walk away from the closing table with or what you pay somebody to get you to the closing table?
You walk away.
I think the answer should always be what I walk away.
At the end of the
You
day.
want to walk away with more money because that's what we're talking about here.
Of course, when you walk away.
Decide your business model. So, and it could be that you're willing to do 2% lift side. I don't know what that is. I don't really think you need to go there, but whatever. We'll try to support you. I talked a little bit about this, but what you need to do if you have not done this, and there may be some others that are on the screen, but if you don't go into these websites and talk to people and have conversations and maybe test one out and see what the results are, maybe call OfferPad and ask them, tell them you want to sell your home to them and see what they actually do. You don't have no obligation to sell your home to them. Wouldn't that better position you? How does anyone decide how to compete if they don't know what the competition's doing? You got to have knowledge of the competition to compete. No other way. So what is it that the customers really receives? What do they really get? So Rex, I know just a tad bit about each one of these. I don't know it deeply because I'm not out there doing business like you are. If I were, I would know everything. But Rex, I don't think they even use the MLS. So it's 2% total commission, but there's no MLS. The MLS is going to sink them as far as how much they can get back for their home. So again, it comes back to what's more important, how much you paid to get to the closing table or how much you walk away from the closing table with. Because if you're going to pay 2%, you're going to get just a select few buyers, which means what's that going to result in? Likely going to be a lower sale price, which means that you didn't save anything and probably lost more money than if you would have hired and got full service. I will also say this, I've been in this business since early 2000s. In the mid 2000s, you could do anything because homes would just sell just no matter what. So these discounter companies, there were all different brands back in that day. Trying to think of a couple of them, but guess what? This is a whole new menu of discounters or disruptors. The ones in the mid 2000s, every one of them is gone. Why? Because in the late 2000s, the market went south, hard south. And guess who doesn't survive? Those companies that have this business model that doesn't survive, can't survive in that marketplace. Guess who did survive? I survived. In 2009, in 9 months, I did 9 million in sales. That's kind of unheard of in 2009, but I personally did 9 million in sales in 9 months. And they were willing to pay me full commission because there was no buyers to be had hardly. And it's like, whatever you could do, if you can sell this thing, good luck, and we'll pay you whatever because we're happy that it's even sold because everybody else I know can't sell their house right now. So there is something to be said, the fact that you create a business model that has longevity no matter what the condition of the market is. So you'll see this kind of thing come and go. In a good market, they surface. In a bad market, they disappear. But in a market where it's doing well like today, and you're still trying to earn business and do business and get business, you have to understand who the competition is, what do they do, what do you really get, what are they missing that you can provide. That's what makes the difference. So sell your benefits and values. What can you sell them? Customer satisfaction, testimonials that you have, maybe your list to sale price ratio. You know, now if you're new, you don't have any of these elements, but that was some of my big ones. I could say, you know what? Here's every customer that bought or sold a home to me since I've been in business. I put their name, you know, as long as they're okay, name, phone number, everything. You call any one of them you want and ask them how I did. What was the level of my service? How did I perform? How available was I? How did I do when I negotiated the contract? You ask them anything, you'll just hear it from them directly. My list to sale ratio was over 98%. It was like 98.6%. Why? Because I didn't overprice houses. You want to sell your house, we hit this magic number, it's a done deal. Guess what? People are going to pay the price because when they compare it to other homes on the market, they realize that the price is fine with what we're asking and they don't negotiate and they're emotionally attached now and they'll make this happen. Your marketing services, and we give you all that, and your level of personalized service that goes along with that. That's really what you sell today, and that's what you need to bring the attention to when you're marketing yourself and earning business. Do you feel these new disruptors are powerful and influencing today's consumer?
Absolutely. Because all kids today they live on their phone and on the internet.
Okay. How can you get hired when competing with a discount fee competitor?
Just that you offer your marketing services and give your stats.
Okay. And so and let's say you're in an appointment and they're just hung that that's the best solution for them, and at the end of the day it makes more financial sense and da. Either one or two things occurred. Either they didn't understand, you didn't do a brilliant, skillful job of giving them the facts about the difference in what you really provide, your true values, or their just mindset is going to be that the world is based on getting this as cheap as I can, no matter what the outcome is, even if it's a worse outcome, and you can't win in that situation. So you allow that one to go by because you need to go find people that understand and accept the values you provide and continue doing business with them. Does that make sense? So here are ways that you can add value, be a professional, you can dress the part, and I'm going to show some slides on that. You have to be very competent in what you're doing, and they have to know it and feel it. And then you need to demonstrate your product and services in a detailed manner. All of these things are very important if you want to be a full service agent to earn full value and overcompete with discounting. It can be done. I've done it. You feel these? Yes, I've done that. Okay, iBuyer, same thing. So exact same thing, whether it's a discounter or an iBuyer, that's the same thing. Here's something though. Now that I told you some things behind the iBuyer product, how would a consumer potentially react if your marketing basically said, you consider meeting with me, if you were considering the easy sale way, convenience way, and you consider meeting with me, I could give you both options. You can choose the easy way, this is what it would mean at the end of the day, or you could choose traditional sale, and this is what it would mean at the end of the day. Wouldn't that be a better product, at least for a consumer to consider, or at least investigate into? Because what is the iBuyer doing? They're only promoting the I buy the home convenience, and here's the price. And what do we typically do? We just go in the traditional route. How would you line up an opportunity to be able to give a product where it gives them options like that? You would need to find investors, right? So there's plenty of investors out there that you could connect with that would be able to buy the home immediately with cash. So if you presented these two options to a consumer that's selling their home and they do have they've made some consideration to selling it to OfferPad, and then you showed them, but this is what OfferPad's going to net you, and this is what I would net you. Could that potentially re-influence that consumer to say, you know what? Or what is it, 20.2% difference? I think I could wait 90 days to sell my home. I sure would.
To make the average.
Because knowing that I only make $8,000 a year, and so I'm like, that's a whole year's salary, and I got to wait an extra 40 days to close for 40. That's ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, but I kind of need it sold, Scott. I need it sold within. You can't, can you guarantee me you can sell my home? Can't guarantee you'll find the buyer, but what you can do is say, we can adjust the price during the process to get it there. You also put in their mindset or give them the option to say, at any moment, you still want to go this route? I'll stop the marketing, we'll get a contract, my investor's ready to go, and we can close in 5 days. At least I could take a shot here. I don't think any OfferPad, Open Door, or Zillow would be doing any business if you came in and they went in and presented and you came in with this product. What do you think? I think so. If you need help with finding who would buy the homes, investors, I can help you with that. I know a bunch. boom, 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 boom. But if you had marketing out there that said, hey, if you've been on the market to possibly easy sale and you want to know what it means, we can do that, or we can go traditional and realize that traditional probably nets you about 20% more, and the time frame to sell your home is relatively the same. Why don't you let me meet with you and I can give you your options. Pretty powerful, right? No doubt, I would call you. Now you see the business model there. What must you do to earn business today at maximum pay? About that. Is putting a listing in the MLS enough to earn listings today? Just make sure it's on the MLS. Well, and then it'll still go on Zillow and da. Do you think that's enough today?
No.
To be paid maximum pay? You think just using your smartphone to take pictures is worth top commission today? You think the skills of influence is necessary more than in the past? Yes. Yes. Consumers demand true skilled professional today. If they're going to choose one and pay top pay. All these things, right? So what is it? All it's alluding to is the fact that MLS is not enough, and we give you all the stuff that goes way beyond that. Our listing and presentation alone, 18 different things you do to market that property. Powerful. Most of us hire somebody to take photos today, and it's not that expensive. And when you think about the fact that you're getting 3% potentially, and if it's a $300,000 house, it's $9,000. What is $250 for photos? You got to put some expense. Remember what I said earlier? What did realtors have to do? They had to put an ad in a publication, and then if the home wasn't sold by the end of that shelf life of that publication, they had to pay for another ad in the same publication until that home finally sold. You don't have to do any of that. So, a smaller substitute would be to have the best photos. The homes with the best photos show first, and they sell quicker, and they turn more. They come out to be more. They sell higher than results. So which here's a good one. Which is the real estate agent in this photo?
Hopefully the one on the left.
The one on the left?
I would assume the one on the right.
Not the one in the center?
No.
The one on this side or this side?
This side.
On the left. Well, how do you know that?
That's why I said that. He's got a shirt with a logo on it. I'm just looking like
Shirt with a logo and
And so is there something wrong with this?
It needs to look professional.
There's something serious wrong. And I'm just going to say it, that the lacks in professional dress code is just immense. But this is the agent.
That's what's fun.
I've literally seen people come in to go to closings in my Porvici office, and I thought the customer was the agent and the agent was the customer. It's sad, folks. We want $500 an hour for our time, but we decide we can dress to go to the beach or whatever. I don't know, to go mow the lawn. It's ridiculous, and it's important that you understand this. Sellers visualize you in action. So if you go to a listing appointment to get hired and you don't dress the part, what is the image they see in their mind? Okay, now when this agent's showing my home, is that what they're going to look like? Because that's not what I expect for $500 an hour. I didn't expect it at all. So Which agent commands the highest financial worth? Pretty obvious. There's different, dress styles that go on, and honestly, not so much for male attire anymore, but the suit jacket and stuff still would command dress the part, dress for work. If you want to be top paid professionals, you need to dress the part. I just feel that strongly, and it commands. People will immediately give you a level of respect differently based on the way you're dressed. And it will command money. Yeah. How do you dress? And I mean, I'm telling you, I think for the most part, you guys probably do a pretty good job at this, but I've seen agents that, I mean, really, it just is shocking to me. I'm like, you're the real estate professional? It must be family. I don't know. I mean, something's wrong here. You need to know your market. You need to know as much as you can, both what different areas, things to do, types of communities, prices. You have to be knowledgeable. So when you're having conversations, you can talk intelligently about your market area, both on real estate pricing wise and just knowing it deeply and understanding it. That's what becomes an important factor. There are two main things that agents get chosen for: trust and knowledge of the local market. So you need to know your business. You need to be very skillful so that no matter what kind of question that you're asked, you can respond and it makes sense and it's intelligent. Okay? And I'll be honest, the thing that these things resonate, especially when the higher the marker on the price point. And I personally have sold many $1 million homes, and this becomes exceptionally more and more needed the higher the value the home goes, and because those that made money in their life know the business that got them the money they made, unless they inherited or won the lotto, but the ones that earned it, they know it, they know their business. And no one's going to be able to tell them anything, differently. They know their business, and they need to feel that same way from you. And it's very confident that you got to come out, because no matter what they think you should do or what happens, unless it's really what happens, you have to be willing to tell them, I can understand why you believe that, but this is really how it really goes, and this is why. And when you can do that, they'll hire you in a minute and they'll pay you full dollar, because they see the value, and they'll pay for it, and they'll realize you have it because you're willing to tell them how it really happens. Right away they say, your stuff. I want somebody that knows their stuff. So it works. And for you here, using the brokerage tools, and this is just pictures of the consumer handouts available to you, listing, print marketing material, presentations, because you've seen how savvy looking those websites are, OfferPad and Open Door, Zillow's Buy Homes ads and stuff like that. They're very compelling. They're very well done. They present very well. They say a great message. Okay? So you have to be able to say a great message too. If you're not utilizing this stuff that has nice charts and graphs and pictures of happy people and stuff, and embracing that into your systems and just talking, that will go so far. This will reinforce it. This will put you on a higher playing field to earn the opportunities in the business. Does that make sense? To me, it's essential. And there's never been a time in our business where that's been more needed. In fact, because we're more fluently, not as fluently required anymore. You know, that's what the message is. We don't need real estate agents anymore. And remember back, I said in the beginning, the only way that a consumer had access to properties is they almost had to go to the real estate store or the real estate office because there was no internet. There was no computers and all this stuff. So they had to go in and sit with somebody and talk to them and get shown a book, and then they went out and worked together. So it's different. So it's possible that some people will choose discount above overall value. Do we agree with that? No matter what you can show them, they're still going to say, unless I get it for discount price, I'm just not going to do it no matter what. Okay. So then you make an ultimate choice. You either discount it to get that business or you walk from that opportunity, or is it really an opportunity? Then, you know, there's certain things that will add into that skill set to determine whether or not it's feasible to even accept the business and maybe give a little bit of a discount. You know, you have to make those decisions. Could I possibly accept business and give a little bit of a discount, knowing what the hours that I might have to put into it and the result is going to be at least a paycheck? Yeah. So, others will choose true tested service and choose you and receive the best outcome. So, you know, especially if you've done a great job, you came in, you were a professional, you had all the marketing material, it looked brilliant, and you understood and you talked with true skill and knowledge. They're like, you know what? I don't even care about Redfin anymore. You're brilliant at what you do, and this is going to make. I know that at the end of this closing, I'm going to have more money from you. Please sign me up. That's what you're looking for. And will people do that? And when I say true tested service, what do I mean? Back to the roots of this industry and the roots of what we do. You get all these, what we call disruptors. They're trying new concepts, right? But they're never going to perform like the traditional way. And that's why I say in good times, when the marketers on the top and business coming pretty easy and buyers are fluently buying and stuff like that, these people come out, or these new concepts come out. But when the turn happens and the business starts to get tough, they go away. They don't make it. They can't make it. They're already not making money. They're already losing money in a good market. So what are they going to lose in a bad market? They just quit. And do agents disappear in a bad market too?
Yep.
Yes. Who survives? The people that have a foundation in their business to do and serve customers and have a good skill set and a good knowledge base. So that's who I want all of you to be. So no matter what the condition of the market is, that you're like, okay, I'm just doing my business. It's a little tougher, you know, you can't hide behind it. It is tougher. You don't make quite as much money no matter what. But when 80% of the realtors leave the business and 20% stay, and you're one of them and you still get business, it means you've built a business around the foundation that's going to survive no matter what the condition of the market is. Because what? Does houses just stop buying? You know, does everybody just keep their house? Nobody sells a home? No. Homes still sell no matter what the condition of the market is. They still sell. They're probably not as plentiful because people like, oh, well, I'm going to take a loss or whatever, different reason. But no matter what the condition of the market is, real estate is still happening. But our needs go up because the buyers get more scarce. The buyers really ultimately determine how the market's doing, because if they quit buying, then market suffers. As long as buyers are buying, then the market's fluent. So, okay. For all, it comes down to you and what you do and how you perform. Your skill and knowledge at explaining your values that will benefit them the most. So it comes down to your ability to give a great presentation, show your skill set, show your knowledge, negotiate. So if you don't, I'll be honest with you, if I were choosing, and I interviewed your agents for the job of selling my home, and you at any moment basically said, I'll do it cheaper, or, what would you think I should do to sell your home? Or I would check you off in a second. I want somebody that goes in there and fights it, because I know if you're fighting it for yourself, which you should be, you darn well are going to fight it for me when you put me into a negotiating situation for the contract on my home. That's a cool agent. That's the agent that I'm going to hire. And that's what you need to, that message needs to come in. You don't say, don't directly say, well, if I wouldn't fight for my own commission, how hard am I going to fight for yours? They just see it in how you're presenting and how you're having that conversation, how you're responding. But if you're giving up your commission and don't fight for it, not a good thing for yourself. But to demonstrate through action that you are the best choice to serve, protect, and produce the best outcome for their largest personal assets. Remember, we're not dealing with small item here. It's typically the most valuable thing they absolutely own. Nothing trumps the house or the home that they own as far as the value. So here's a good thing for you to write down, because I could see myself saying this. If you think a professional is expensive, wait until you hire an amateur. You like that one? If you think a professional is expensive, God bless you if you hire an amateur, and that's, what is that saying? What did I just say there? First of all, it's like anything else. Do you want the new guy that just got started doing heart surgery to do the operation? You want the guy. You're young in the business, some of you, but you have to skill up, show off the skill set. And people will navigate to that. People demand highly skilled people if they're going to pay top wage. Think about what you really earn. If you could cut out all the waste and only account for the time you actually, the minute to minute that you actually spent servicing a customer from the time you met them, listed the property, put it on MLS, all those minutes to closing, what is it, potentially how much time do you have invested in that? It's typically on a seller side, 10 to 12 hours. Okay. On the buyer side, you can double it. Takes twice as long to service a buyer as it does a seller. And there's more, the time that you have to actually spend dedicated with the customer, 75% of that time that you service on a buyer side, 75% is with the customer, and 25% without. On the seller side, only 25% with the customer, meaning your dedicated time is spent, and 75% you could be sitting on the beach. So there's not a lot of expense, and there's in listing property is highly profitable. Do we agree with that? So could someone afford to do it a little bit cheaper and make good money? Yes. I'm not trying to give you that perception to discount yourself, but if it takes 10 hours of your time to get that thing from preparing for the listing appointment to the closing table, not counting everything else you do in between, and it's 10 hours, and it's a $300,000 house, meaning you made $9,000, how much money did you make per hour?
$900.
Okay. Would you work for $450 an hour? I mean, think about it. Would you work for $450 an hour? If I said, I'm going to pay you $450 an hour for 10 hours straight, well, 10 hours of your time, would you do it? Would you hesitate?
No.
Okay.
Well, I would say that you have to encounter all the prospecting and such else you do in order to even pick up that lead.
And that's the thing. We have so much time getting to the lead, but if you had more leads, you know, and you got to think about it all this time because, you know, I could be saying if you were selling a house for every 10 hours of your time, how come you're not closing 4 sales a week? So you're exactly right. Because you got all the in-between, trying to find the customer that chooses you to do business and stuff like that. So you got to get streamlined on everything you do to maximize all that outcome, right? And do we get into deals where it gets 3/4 of the way to the closing table and then the whole thing falls apart? Yes. So you get paid. Okay, well, you know, I got 7.5 hours invested into that, and so I want my $500 an hour, and then we'll start again. We don't get paid for all that. So in the big picture, it might seem all fancy and fuzzy that we're making $900 an hour, but were we truly making $900 an hour? No. But can you up the game to where you're making significant money? Yes. It's how you use your time and how you apply it. So I'm getting a little bit off topic, but people demand. Any questions about what I shared with you today? Does it make sense?
So just to recap, Scott, we focus on that question. If I'm doing a listing interview and the guy told me, I just heard that ad on the radio, well, this company 1.5%. So I know the first thing we said, no, there's a lot of hidden games here involved. I would explain to them what you just told us about the convenience fee and percentage. What else can we go with that?
Well, I would go back. You need to present your skills, some of your past client testimonials. You need to have the presentation because do you understand what Redfin gives a customer other than the website?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you understand what else the customer gets from Redfin besides the listing on their website?
That might be a question you might want to ask the customer.
Well, no, but you better know.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to have the knowledge, but that might be a question that you want to pose to a customer. What do you think you're getting from Redfin?
No, I wouldn't. I probably
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
do
know,
that.
no.
I would say, here's my marketing plan, and this is. But I'm going to know that Redfin doesn't do this. Redfin doesn't do this. Redfin doesn't do this. Redfin doesn't do this.
Also leave with the bait and switch.
Well, it's not bait and switch. Your value proposition. See what you. First thing you got to do when you should do when you leave here or when you have time in your schedule is to go research these companies and understand what they do. Or these are big companies, but there may be smaller ones. You mentioned one in our market called Star One. So what do you get? What do you really get? They probably give amateur photos. I don't know what they don't get. But what you give is you always got to come in and it's more, it's better. Because if all the consumer gets is smartphone photos on their listings, and you have professional photos, and you show that professional photos drive 200% more people through the door, meaning bigger offers, does that have value? Could that allude to more money for their home? Yes. See, that's what you got to do. It's important. And if you have a mindset, you're already programmed with a mindset that you can't compete with these, or you think that the only way you're going to get business is to come to 1.5% too, you've got to work on that because it's not true. People will pay more, and are they really paying more? Not really, because you might net them more at the closing table. They have to believe that, and that you have the skill set and the knowledge that they feel most comfortable with. You're going to protect their best interest. I don't know if Redfin sends a real estate agent out and does a listing appointment, or they just do it on the internet. See, those things make a
They do it
difference.
on the phone.
On the phone.
They do it on the phone, the listing agent makes $1,000 if the sale's closed, and you pay like $10-15 an hour.
Okay. So can you see that? I mean, they don't have a person that comes out and looks at your home and gives it a true evaluation. That in itself is inferior service to what they should even want.
And they offer an a la carte as well, it says listing fee of 1.5, but if you want this, that's more money if you want
Yeah,
this.
so if you want a virtual tour, it's another 0.5%. See what I'm saying? All of a sudden now it's back to 6% again.
And then you still have to offer the buyer's agent some sort of concessions to bring in the buyers, so, at best, they're at 4.5%.
Yeah, so it's not really ending in the same, it comes back. So it's like, and so we have a page where you can offer a lower commission and give them 6. So it's really imperative that you do a great job of the listing appointment, listing presentation, and there's really, you're offering them more product and more service for a comparable price, because when you add back in the things that they should get, now that's back to 6% again. And now we're inferior because they did their interview on the phone and I'm in person. I'm looking at your home. I'm spending dedicated quality. And I'm perfect. You get it? There's no way you can't get that business.
Open door opens a 7.5% convenience fee.
7.5% convenience fee to
And
sell your home.
wholesale price. And they'll do a wholesale price where you sell your houses.
Yeah.
You want it.
So, any questions? Good question. So you gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You have to. And then you have to sell yourself. And you have to come across. You gotta be skilled. You should be. And what I want to say again is go back here, right here. If you don't use this stuff, big problem. Big, huge problem. You ain't gonna be worth a whole heck of a lot. It's when you can present and have a plan of action and organization to your business. They want you to be a business, not just a sales guy. If you don't come out and look really, really nice and fancy and have a presentation, because those companies, that's what they do. This stuff makes them thousands and thousands of dollars. And so if they have somebody, the person that gets on the phone with them, guess what? He went through hardcore training on presenting the presentation. And that's all that differentiates, is having a presentation. And these things work. They work well. And so you have to know it, you have to deliver it, be good at it, and then it's like just repeat. It's like boom, 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 repeat. So it works really well. Let's see. When's the perfect time?
Right.
Always right. Thanks for joining me. I don't know if anyone had questions online. Any other questions though? So
Thank you.
believe in yourself. You're worth talking. And trust me, I've done hundreds of listing presentations. That's all I cared to do. I would love. You know what a listing presentation is, folks? What is a listing presentation?
It's a job interview.
It's a job interview. So do you want to go work for somebody for less money, or what you should be paid for your professional skills and knowledge? You First you gotta have professional skills and knowledge. You better up the game on that so that you know you deliver the best, and then you have to present yourself. So that you get hired, it makes the most sense. It's the best value to hire you because you're very good. You know, just because somebody says they can do a particular skill, and if you were interviewing, the interviewer or the manager or whatever is going to pick the one that they see is best for performing the job. Okay, and they will pay more for a better skilled employee. They'll pay the right amount for a better skilled employee. People make the difference. Trust me, I know that more than anything. Is my staff has to be good at what they do to deliver service to you. And if I have one that doesn't perform well, it affects my entire business because if I start hearing it from you, and so the same concept. So all a listing appointment is a job interview, and so you get to be an expert at getting hired, at going on job interviews. It's really that simple. But you better have a great presentation to do it. And people hire the best skilled people for the job, not the cheapest. You got a license, but if you don't have value and skill, then the rest don't matter. So, very good. Just see if anyone's still with me. Hello, everyone that's online. Hopefully you heard me, and hopefully, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.